Hey guys, 170 out here. It's not coffee morning. It's technically, well, I guess it's Bacardi and Coke evening. Hope you guys have had a good week. Apologies for this being out late. I had to go to the hospital earlier for some tests. And when I got back, I went straight into work because the manager's off, so it's just me until the US guys get in about 3 o'clock. So, yeah, little busy today. So apologies for this being out late, but in a unique twist, as you'll see as I keep glancing over there, I have some notes. I actually made notes for this video because I'm going to talk about copyright laws and broadcast licensing because it's something I've touched on every now and again, particularly with regards to my DJ streams on Chew and why I don't do them on Twitch. But also, I don't know what's kicked it off, but I've seen a lot of people asking, can I play music on Twitch? So this is my attempt to answer this question and explain a little bit as to why the answer is what it is. So the answer is it depends. Now, what I mean by that is if you own the rights to a track. Now, that means, is it your track? You've made it, it's your own original work, you've produced it. Yeah, nothing stopping you from playing that kind of your music on Twitch. If it's a mate's music, you can do it, but you have to get their permission to do it. Now, this is where it starts getting a little bit murky, and I may be bouncing back and forth between points, so hopefully you guys can follow. Basically, if it's not your music, you sort of have two routes, really. Now, the first route that's actually sort of more relevant is permission-wise. You can approach the rights holder for permission to broadcast the track. Now, 99.9% of the time, let's take Twitch out of the equation for a second, you don't need to do that. And you'll notice that, you'll probably know that radio stations don't do that, clubs don't do that. They're not going around all these labels and whatnot getting permission because they have a broadcasting license. You need a broadcasting license even if broadcasting online, especially if you're going to be broadcasting copyrighted music. If you're doing your own talk show, you don't need a license online. It's fine. You can just set up to a podcast, talk show. Don't need a license because it's your own original work. Second, you bring in other people's music in when you're not dealing with your own original work, and this is, as I said, this is where ultimately the problem starts coming in. Twitch doesn't have any kind of license to broadcast copyrighted music in the same way that radio stations do, in the same way some websites like aforementioned Chew do. Basically, this license, you have to pay for it, but it basically grants them permission to broadcast copyrighted music over the internet. Sounds simple enough, and a lot of people are going, well, why doesn't Twitch just go and get a license? And to be honest, I was thinking that. I thought it'd be strange. Why hasn't Twitch got the license? Digging a little deeper, I'm still not completely comfortable with the fact that Twitch doesn't have the license. But there's no one universal license that covers the entire world. Now, the licensing is sort of applicable to not where you're broadcasting from, but where you're broadcasting to. Now, Twitch is, obviously an online company. They reach all over the world. They're based in the States, but obviously, internet worldwide. In order to be able to cover every single possible country, they would have to buy at least a dozen different licenses, if not more, and you still probably wouldn't cover the entire world. So there's immediately, in that regard, going to be restrictions on who can and can't listen to this music. Now, there are some websites, Mixcloud being one, who, I'm not sure they would say they haven't gotten around it, but they seem to have put some various tools in place. To give you an example, I uploaded a set a couple of months ago, and then I got a warning that said, because I put I put track listings so people know what tracks I've played and who they're by. So if they like those particular tracks, they know what they are and they can go out and get them themselves. But a little warning came up when I uploaded one saying you are uploading a track listing that contains tracks, more than 5 tracks from the same artist. Therefore, this may not be playable in certain countries. Now, Mixcloud can probably do that because they're not live. It's uploaded stuff, so it's basically pre-recorded. It's quite easier to be able to, control that. Mix is purely for music. Twitch is not purely music. I'm not entirely sure how you would be able to write any kind of coding to say, okay, these licenses, if it's this country, then they can't listen to the music, because how do you know if they're broadcasting music? You've got your, at the moment, Twitch have got in place automatic recognition systems for music, and that's why, a lot of time when you play music, you'll see it gets muted out. It's happened to me before. It's happened to me when I haven't even been playing music, but certain music has been copyrighted that's appeared in the game that has been muted because Twitch doesn't have the license to broadcast it. The game has the license to use it, but not Twitch doesn't have the license to then subsequently broadcast it. So even from a technology level, it would be nigh on impossible, I think, for Twitch to put in automated systems for this. That might be one reason why they've done it. And I'm not looking to make excuses for them. I'm just trying to outline some of the issues. Now, so I was there. Lost my complete train of thought. I was going well. So in the UK, you've got 2 main licensing. I'm going to come on to the UK for a second. PPL and PRS, which basically deal with 2 different sort of things. One's dealing with broadcasting of music. The other one's actually payable of royalties and whatnot to artists where their music has been used in certain situations. Now, I still completely lost my train of thought. I stopped recording. Okay, so ultimately, Twitch doesn't have the broadcasting licensing to do it because we're dealing with copyrighted music. Now, a lot of people have said, well, I've bought the track. Doesn't that mean I can, I should be able to do with it, what I want? Not whether you should is another discussion, and it's one I'm not going to get into. Currently, though, copyright law says you can't. The licensing, and it is basically what you've bought. You've not bought the track, you've bought the license to use that track, but the license effectively is for personal use. Now, broadcasting it over the internet doesn't count as personal use. Personal use is basically you can play it at home in your own private domain. Basically, you can make copies of it, but you cannot make those copies available to anybody other than yourself. So if you've got a CD, you can make copies of it and put it on your various portable devices, or put it on your computer. But you can't then take that and take it to a club and say, oh, here you go, look at, I've bought this track, I can use it. Now, you could probably do that with a club because the club, again, has a broadcasting license, has a license that says they can play live music. Now, live music isn't just a band. Live music is playing it from CD, so a DJ, that sort of thing. So, but you couldn't then host a public party on your own and then just play the music. I mean, even gyms have to have music. Anywhere where music is played in what is deemed a public space has a license. How many people actually do that? Because the number of things that could include is quite a lot. But anyway, that's what it is. So no, you don't then have the right to do whatever you want with that track. Now, Twitch is not unique in this. This is an issue that faces something like Facebook. I know a few DJs who do streams on Facebook, and exactly the same things apply. Facebook doesn't have a broadcasting license. and doesn't have permission from the rights holders to routinely and freely broadcast their music. Now, what Twitch does have is a library of music that they have got permission from the rights holders to be able to play that music. Now, I'll be honest, I had a quick listen through it. It is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Some of the tracks are really, really quite cool. Not quite as... most of it is like electronic dance music. Still probably slightly more commercial side of stuff to what I normally play, but some of it's actually really quite cool. I might try and put a set together using nothing but the tracks that you're allowed to play on Twitch. But yeah, those are the tracks you can play. But and another thing as well, people come from like, well, I'm just playing it from Spotify. Again, it's the whole permission thing. Spotify, I think, is owned by Apple, so Apple have got permission from those right holders to have those tracks on their public Spotify list. You are paying to then play those, that have the ability to play those tracks and make up your own playlisting. But again, it's covered for personal use. Spotify have the rights to host the music effectively. You have the right to play it in your own home privately. The second it goes public, that's when you start getting into trouble. That's when you start getting DMCAs, mutes, and all this sort of stuff. So I think that covers it. Hopefully that's given a little bit more insight. A lot of this, maybe all of this you knew. Maybe you hope, maybe it didn't. But either way, that's effectively what it is. It comes down to permission, basically. It comes down to permission either directly from the rights holders or permission via a license. And other than the tracks that are in Twitch's library, Twitch doesn't have any of it. And ultimately, it's Twitch's responsibility to get the licensing. Even if you have your own license, just for argument's sake, even if you did get your own personal license, you couldn't then use Twitch because it's the platform, the platform or the premises that are licensed effectively. So yeah, that's it. There it is. It's got to be your own music, or you've got to have permission from the rights holders when it comes to broadcasting this on Twitch. Hopefully that's been useful for you guys. Let me know if any other further questions, comments, corrections. If you think something's not quite right, let me know. This is something that I'm having to get into a lot deeper than I ever thought I was going to need to. But since I started streaming, and especially since I started doing DJ streams, I've had to get, this is something I've had to start becoming aware of. So yeah, I definitely need to learn this stuff. Quick streaming update. Saturday will be Jackbox Paddock 4 from about 8 o'clock. New Jackbox out, so I'm going to be trying out those games. Sunday's going to be Telltales. I'm going to get in the Batman, the Minecraft, and the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff done. Monday will be Life is Strange Before the Storm, and then probably some more Star Trek. I'm going to start a new character with a new faction so I can get those faction-related achievements. And then Tuesday, I don't actually know yet. I probably will do the Halo Wars 2 expansion. I kind of want to try and finish that in one go, so I may leave that for a Sunday, but either way, I'll let you guys know in advance. Anyway, you guys take care. Thank you very much for tuning in. I will be back, as I said, tomorrow. And yeah, in the absence of coffee, Bacardi and Coke seems to work just as well. You guys take care.